9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I will be the last to fall. I won't shed a tear for them to see. I won't have your name to call, 'cause I will be the last to fall.
With over 24% of the 1.9 billion square acres in America alone, the mountains that so many people call home are also host to some of the most incredible mysteries in the world. The missing, the murdered, strange creatures, unexplained lights, and sightings of unidentified objects. These stories may be strange, they may be sad, they may be odd, but they are mysterious. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. And now, live from the Pantry Studio, broadcast to all time zones around the world, with listeners of the podcast in the United States, Canada, Germany, Norway, India, the United Kingdom, and more. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Now, your host, Chris Sloan.
Good evening. It is April 29th, 2021. I would give you a timestamp on this, but the fact of the matter is that people listen and watch this thing all over the place. And I really don't want to be too, what's the word I'm looking for there? Too evident with it, because I know that we've got some people on the West Coast that check it out, people on the East Coast and that kind of thing too. So with that being said, I hope that you guys have had a decent week so far. And I've really missed talking to you and kind of getting together with you. I really have. So I hope that everything's going well with you. As always, I'd like to start out with thanking our Patreon supporters. And we do have some new Patreon supporters. And that includes Shirley Henson. Of course, last week I mentioned a few new ones too. We have grown by 7 supporters this month alone. Now, I'm off the goal just a little bit there, but that's okay. I thank every one of you that subscribe to the Patreon channel. That's a reason, or that's a way to keep us going and growing. Of course, the other way is to simply download and subscribe to the podcast, share them, talk about it. Some of these topics that we talk about are pretty heavy. I get that. Some of them are a little bit lighter, and we are going to have a few coming up that I wouldn't use the word light, because everything that we do is based on true stories. We really don't do much in the line of fiction. Come to think of it, we don't do anything in the line of fiction. Everything is claimed to be real or based on real events. So thanks a lot. We appreciate that. Excuse me. Allergies have been driving me crazy, only recently as it started easing up a little bit. You guys know what I'm talking about. You go through the same thing, I'm sure. I don't have a monopoly on that. So last Friday, Lake of Tears dropped. It was, Tuesday before, it was available to Patreon subscribers. The story of as we know it to be concerning DeWayne Lovelace. And that's got a ton of people, a lot of people that have watched, more continue to download it, but there's still a lot of people checking out the Tragedy at Paintsville Lake episode too, and all the other ones that we've done. Like I said, this thing is not an exact science. Here's what I know to be a fact. They're tragedies. That's a fact. Anytime anybody loses their life, be it by in some cases murder, some cases natural causes, some cases accident, it's tragic. And this podcast is about remembering those people. I can't tell you how many times I've said this, and I still mean it, that I don't think that people are ever really leaving us or that they're ever really gone until they are forgotten about. So one of the big things that I want to make sure is that these people aren't forgotten about, in whatever case it is. Um, but I was asked a while back, so like what kind of prerequisites are there for getting a story on the Mountain Mysteries? Really, something that's unexplained, something where there's questions that still remain. Um, all too often, we all have lost people. I'm no exception to that. You're no exception to that. Somebody somewhere that we love has gone on. Now, the thing that gets me through is, well, quite simply, the thing that got me through at first was turning to drinking more and more, and that didn't work. And it's never a path that leads anywhere that's good. So I started investing my time and my energy into work and riding motorcycles and doing that kind of thing. And that helped me. I had a lot of friends help me too, a lot of good people. And my dad always said, if you've got one good friend in your life, you're lucky. And I think that April had that. I think that Tim had that. DeWayne had that. I think that Mamie Thurman had some. I think that all of these people, barring the Mothman, I'm not sure he had any real friends. Maybe, but none around here that I know of anyway. So a lot of these episodes are coming out. And right now, if you want to go to Patreon and subscribe to, actually, you don't have to subscribe to go to Patreon and vote on the poll that's paying. And this poll is actually, now, about what I mean by paying is somebody's going to win some prizes. And I've not checked it today, but last time I heard, the poll was actually leaning towards the guy who did some killing on the Appalachian Trail. I mean, there was 14 stories, and I asked y'all, pick which one you want. The one that gets the most votes win. And what we're going to do is say, okay, what we're going to do. Oh, I've got to mention that. What we've got to do is take the one that gets the most votes, and we're going to do a full episode on it. So far, that's leaning towards, wow, I hate this because, and in a way I don't, because I don't mind not giving a guy who was a convicted killer props. But anyways, this guy killed 2 people on the Appalachian Trail, served a few years, got out of jail, and tried to kill 2 fishermen. What a dick. Pardon my language. Oh, by the way, per the lawyers, hey, this could contain some language and some adult themes. Okay, now that part's over. But I mean, seriously, mental illness is a real thing, and I acknowledge that. But I'm thinking that if you need help, get help. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no weakness in getting help. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of strength involved in it. So, but this guy killed 2, and then tried to kill 2 fishermen. And I even think that was on an episode of either Investigation ID or Unsolved Mysteries or something like that. I remember seeing it on television some time back, and I was just wowed that this guy got out to start with, because he wound up, I think he was sentenced to like 30 or 40 years. And again, this is all off the cuff. I can't remember it. If we do that episode, I will research that and I will have the accurate answers. But I'm thinking he served like 10 or 15 years and got off and got out, and he went and tried to kill 2 other people. It leads me to my next point. We do not have a perfect system in the United States of America. We don't. But it's probably the best system that people could come up with at the time, and that we still use today. And it's not only America that uses this system. There's a lot of other countries that use the same system we do, and it's based largely on our system. So, I mean, even though it's not perfect, it can't be that bad. With that being said, everybody, especially during this particular podcast, they should always be considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And just because a grand jury hands down an indictment does not necessarily mean they're guilty. It just means, okay, there's enough evidence here to proceed to a trial. And sometimes people come forward and they say, you know what, I don't want to go through a trial. I did it. Okay, well, that does shorten the process. And then sometimes they want to go to trial, and yeah, is it a little longer? Yeah, but you know what? Justice works in its own time. And vigilante justice, well, it never works at all. So happy birthday today to Sharon Barron, April's mom. I just saw that up there. Her son Tim posted that. Sharon Grass Barron, happy birthday. Love you bunches and hope that your day has been absolutely stunningly awesome. Hope that you win the lottery tonight and you can retire to Bora Bora and drink those little drinks with the umbrellas in them and something like that. Don't forget to put a fat stack my way. So happy birthday, and I wish you all the best. So what is coming up on the Mountain Mysteries? Well, actually the Mountain Mysteries gatherings, the Mountain Mysteries, May 8th, 2021. Of course, we know, most of you know by now, is that, which is only like 9 days away, guys. We have got a celebration of life going on, and that's honoring April Pennington, Tim Stambo, DeWayne Lovelace at Paintsville Lake, shelter number 4, starts at noon. Cookout prizes are going to be given away. We're going to have a raffle for some really neat prizes like a smart TV and gift cards and some Mountain Mystery shirts, and also available shirts that honor Tim and April. We would have had them with DeWayne too, but those things were planned. Actually, I think they were planned before we even made the announcement that we were going to do it. So I think, but I think it was, and Sharon can correct me if I'm wrong, and she will. That's why I love her so much. But I think that Holly Grass had designed those, and they're absolutely beautiful. And there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. The only prerequisite to showing up that we ask is that people show respect and everybody get along. If this, I want to call it gathering, but if this celebration of life has one thing going for it, the one thing I wanted to do was for you guys to lean on each other. Okay. I have had a great support system from people like Ray Day, my daughter, my friends, people that are close to me, my boss at my job, my day job. The folks I work with have been phenomenal and have given me more patience and time than anybody would ever deserve to kind of get my head straight and get my act back together. Holly will have extra shirts available, is what Sharon's telling me, if you're not in the chat right now, which I think I've got this one running on 2 or 3 Facebook pages and a YouTube channel, I think. But anyways, I think that these shirts that Holly designed, they're beautiful. They really are. They are also awesome. Something else that you're probably seeing right there show up right about now is follow us on Facebook and the Mountain Mystery pages. We're right at 1,000 likes, and I cannot thank you guys enough. Here's the thing: when you share it, when you like it, be it the Facebook page or the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, whatever, people they don't get, they are interested in this stuff. We're going to have a few of these there too that we're going to give out. I may make you do something goofy, like see if you can walk on your hands for 10 feet or something like that. No, I could do it back in the day in high school when I tried to do the wrestling thing, but now just me walking on my legs is difficult enough. It keeps the hot drinks hot and the cold drinks cold. How does it know? So anyways, yeah, we're going to give some of those out. And I really appreciate all you guys for tuning in tonight. But yeah, we're going to have a free cookout up there. How much is it going to cost you to attend this thing? Nada. Nothing. Not as just come on up. I'm also going to have my recorder up there for those people who want to share memories. And we're going to, if I get enough, we're going to do a podcast episode strictly on the celebration of life. It will have all of our loved ones' names on there: April, Tim, DeWayne. And it's something to honor them. It's something to honor the families. It's something, I like to say, maybe if we can bring some peace, bringing peace and getting closure. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I forget which one it was now, but this lady, no, I take that back. It wasn't a podcast. It was the Investigation ID channel. This lady said, well, I want closure. Well, guess what? You ain't going to get it. Not in this life. Closure is an overused word when we're talking about the death of somebody that we love. I have a friend who suffered the loss of her parents 10 years ago. And yes, it was natural causes. But that individual has never had closure. She's learned how to live each day. And when I lost my mom and dad, that's what she said was going to happen. And so far, she has been absolutely right. That's exactly what's happened. And I think that that's the case for all of us. I think Sharon would tell you the same thing. I mean, we're talking about 30 years. She has been living in hell with moments. I don't even know if I'd use the word peace, but moments that were easier to deal with than others, I would say. And that's how it goes. Seems like the older I get, the more I got to leave behind. You know, I heard of a lady the other day, may God rest her soul, who died giving childbirth. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? I cannot imagine what being her significant other, husband, boyfriend, whatever, I cannot imagine what that'd be like. I don't even want to try to imagine what that would be like. So, how do you go on? Well, you get up in the morning. Sometimes you have to remind yourself you breathe in, you breathe out. You put one foot in front of the other and you go, and you hope you don't stumble. And if you do, get back up. Is it okay to cry? You bet you. You need to. Okay to be pissed off? You bet you. It's okay. But I can tell you one thing for a fact, and I honestly believe this with everything in me. Short story, case in point. At my mom's memorial, I'm standing outside of the church. And I just got done speaking to the group of folks that were kind enough to come. Somebody comes outside and they look at me as I'm sitting there. And keep in mind, I don't smoke. I'm scared it'll stunt my growth. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, what I just did, would that have made her proud? My dad was still alive at that point, and needless to say, he couldn't come. She was his soulmate. Somebody walks up to me and says, you know, it's okay to be mad at God. And I said, yeah, I know. He's got some pretty big shoulders. But why would I be mad at him? And they kind of looked at me and cocked their head. And I said, look, he gave me 47 years with two great parents. And that's when I said, I don't think my dad will last another 30 days. Well, once again, he took me to school. He proved me wrong. He lasted 33. But like I said, God's got some big shoulders. And we're not supposed to question him, even though we are human beings. And I know we inevitably do question him. Why did this happen? Why did you take my mom? Why did you take my dad? Why did you take my daughter, my son? Why did you take my best friend? Only he knows the answer to that. I don't. I've learned through the course of my own grieving process that sometimes what we've got to do is just let it go and let him handle it. Letting go does not mean forgetting. Do I still have pictures of my parents? All over the place. Yeah, sure I do. But I've started rearranging things. I took one picture down. I basically had a shrine built to my mother, and I took one picture down and put it elsewhere, put one in my brother's room, did this, did that. And one morning it hit me. Would our loved ones want us in a pissing contest or a fighting match? Would they want us living in grief? And I have to think to myself, no, they wouldn't. I don't think they would want that at all. What I think that they would want is for us, while remembering them and the things that we learned from them and the love that we had from them, to move forward. My parents, granted at the time I thought were ridiculously acluistic, which means without a clue, turned out to be wiser people than I ever imagined. My mom used to say, you know the difference between time and money? No, Mom. Fill me in. Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, I was a smart ass. She said, son, the difference between time and money is time, or money. She started with money. She said, money, you can spend it any way you want to. And you can always make more. She said, with time, though, you can spend it any way you want to, but you never get it back. You never make those seconds, minutes, hours, and days back. You know, I had a couple of scuffs with the old man when I was a kid. Never won a damn one of them. Not a one. Not even a single second did I almost come out on top. Never. Yes, he was a veteran. So that right there should have told me no. But more importantly than that, he was my dad. And every time I got disciplined, and I did, and the punishment always fit the crime looking back on it, it was out of love. Years go by, we start riding motorcycles together. Turned out to be the best friend in this world I ever had, I believe. Because he never cut corners. He never lied to me. And he used to say, people that don't really care about you will tell you what you want to hear, but the people that like you will tell you what you need to hear. At 49, I have discovered that to be very true. That's why if I've got somebody I care about, I'll tell them. That's not a good thing. It's not working out the way that I think you think it's going to. This is going to be bad for you. Most of the time, it's right. And it's no great wisdom of mine. It's wisdom that was parted to me by my parents. So I like to say, and it is true, that the Mountain Mysteries got started because of April. I really had the intentions of doing a few of these and going on. Then one thing happened and then the other, so on. And here we are going on 9 episodes deep. And before I call it quits for this season, it'll probably be 15 or 20. Yeah, we all need a break every once in a while. And let me tell you, anybody that works for a living knows you have to disconnect. And all you guys out there know what I'm talking about. You got to step back for a few weeks, month, something like that. It's called vacation. All right. But right now, and yes, I'm not saying that we're going to shut it down. We will be back with more. But I figure at least another 10 or 15 episodes before we even get to that point. Because there's people out there that this thing is apparently helping somehow, some way. And I give props on that to April. I give props on that to Tim and DeWayne and Mamie and Meryl Baldridge, my daughter, my son-in-law. Those two have been godsends to me. And no, I'm not even cracking a smile when I say that because I mean it. Not to mention Sharon and Stacy and everybody else that's been a part of this. You guys listening to it, taking the time out of your day to listen to it. You don't have to do that, but you do. So to say that I'm grateful is an understatement. I am. So as we were saying, the celebration of life is May 8th for April, Tim, and DeWayne. Events at the celebration include a cookout, hamburgers and hot dogs, and baked beans will be coming out of your ears. Thank you. I appreciate that, Charlie and Sharon. We are going to have a raffle, and yes, that is to raise money for the Mountain Mysteries. That's to help pay for some of the stuff that we're getting done and that we're doing. Because I've said this before, so it's no big secret. We are going to video, and it's not just going to be the little pictures on the video. It's going to be video, like the video that you would see on YouTube or Amazon or something like that. People are innately interested in mysterious things. And the Appalachian Mountains, be it from Maine to Georgia, down into Florida, Tallahassee, over to Wyoming. Well, there's really not. There are some mountains in Wyoming. I was thinking of Kansas. It's flat out there and it's straight. But don't put it past me to find a hill somewhere and say, this is a mountain. You need help. I'm going to do what I can to help you. That's what we do. Also, the raffle is that, like we told you, and I think it's 1 for 3 or 5 for 8, something like that, and the tickets. And we're going to hold that right after the balloon release, which is a great, awesome thing. Which a buddy of mine gave me the idea for last week, and I want to give him props. I want to make sure that I got that right, though. Last week, Tony Fairchild mentions to me, hey, what about this time? And he throws off some letters. And I said, okay. I said, what are you thinking there? He said, how about 4:20 p.m.? And I think even on here, Tony, I said, I'm not really sure what you're talking about, man, but shoot me a private message later. And he did. And he said, okay, bro. He said, what is military time? I said, well, you had a 1 past 12 noon. I said, 1200 is, or, 0 hours, 0 is midnight, 1200 is 12 p.m., 13 is 1, etc. He said, yeah, right. He said, okay. So he said, why don't you do it at 4:20 p.m.? He said, what is that military time? Or 4:24. I'm sorry, 4:24. I said, well, a military time at 16:24. Bam, it hit me. That was April's age and Tim's age. So we're going to do it at 16:24 and 20 seconds. Tony, thank you for that, brother. That was beyond cool, man. Never even crossed my mind. I told Sharon the idea, and she got quiet, and she was like, oh, my God. I said, yeah. This is about them. This ain't about me. You'll see me up there probably eating a hot dog, talking to a few people. On occasion, I'll get on a microphone and just say, hey, this is what's going on next. If you guys want to come on over and that kind of thing. And I'll be over there with my recorder talking to people about the memories that they want to share that they had, be it from April or Tim or DeWayne or anybody. I have to agree with what Sherry said there. God gave us peace beyond all understanding, and that's how we go on. Got to agree with that. Can't argue the truth. Thank you for appearing, Sherry. I really do. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're all here this evening. So after that, we'll announce the winners of the raffle giveaway, and you all take stuff with you. I'd like it if you were there to win, or if not, shoot me a message. I'll keep it for. I based this kind of stuff on what I used to do at Q95 FM. A friend of mine had laid forth these rules. The owner of the station, Gormy, had said, okay, all prizes not claimed within 30 days become the property of the Mountain Mystery. So get with me within 30 days and I'll meet you out somewhere if you want to. And, you can get your prize if you're not there, because I understand some people have work. Some people have other responsibilities. Maybe they can come up and say, hey, just thinking of y'all, wanted you to know. They pick up a little bite of lunch. They pick up something to eat, something to drink, and go on their way. All I'm going to say about that is thank you for coming. And I'm sure Sharon feels the same way. It is absolutely amazing, though, the response we've seen on this thing so far. And my whole thought was when I got this together, because I'm meeting all these people that are hurting and in pain, and they really don't know which way to go. I mean, how do you put the pieces of your life back together when you don't even know where the damn puzzle starts? Because when you lose somebody that close to you, everything's shattered. It's just, what are you doing now? How do I freaking breathe? Yeah, I know. When I was doing the episode on April, I broke down several times because, like I said, I knew her. So that made it that much more intense, that much more personal. Let me slide back here a little bit. I'm too close to that thing. It's driving me crazy. That made it for me a little more intense and personal. And I knew Tim. I grew up half a mile down the road from him, something like that. But when her mom texted me one day, she said, I just got this innate feeling to tell you, April's smiling on you. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Anyways, we chatted for a few minutes, got off the phone, and bam, I just exploded. There it was. Out of nowhere. And that's how it's going to happen. You're going along fine. My parents have been gone for just a little over 2 years. And out of the blue, for no reason whatsoever, none. Bam. Happens when you're driving. Happens when you're grocery shopping. Happens when you're watching TV. Happens when you go to the movies. Happens whenever. Some of it is a feeling of guilt. I should have done more. I could have done more. I should have called more often. And I was the kind of guy that called every day. Just about. I wish I could say I did call every day, though. You see, that's that little feeling of guilt sneaking upon you. You got to lay that stuff down. They would want you to be happy. So anyways, that's our plans, excuse me, so far for the celebration of life. And I've told you about some of the prizes. We're going to have all kinds of really cool stuff up there, and some of the stuff are just going to be giveaways. We're going to have some shirts that I don't have one on right now, but the Mountain Mystery shirts, uh, and we got them in different colors, red and black, because the other colors, I was like, are you kidding me? Who the hell's going to wear a fuchsia or whatever that's called? Pink is different, apparently, from fuchsia, so I'm told, but I didn't see it. Now, if somebody does want a pink one, shoot us a message. We'll get you a pink one or something. They make them in all colors. They make them in all sizes. It really is pretty cool. But the balloon release will be at 4, 24, and 20. I'm thinking. I think that Sharon agreed with that too. I believe that, Sharon. I do. People should not be forgotten, especially people that were taken way too soon. If I live to be 80, here's what I want. I want somebody to put a voice recorder in there with me, and that way when they close the lid, you'll hear my voice saying, "Somebody let me out." And the one who drinks the most and dances the longest, who can continue to stand, gets all my toys. So I'm not. I always tell people I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not trying to rush it, but it's a part of life. What I am afraid of is not living. So live each day to your fullest. Make sure that if there's something you want to do, you do your dead level best to do it. Because like Mom said, you don't get a second chance at time. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. I agree with that. So some of the prizes also include what I call Stacy's collection of smell goodies. I don't really know what this stuff is. Look, I'm a guy. All right. For me, get me some soap, shampoo, body spray, wash rag, toothbrush, toothpaste. I'm good. Ladies are a little different. They like these little scenty things and stuff like that. And she's got all kinds of them that she has graciously donated for the event, which is May 8th, the celebration of life. And they're going to be raffled off. And I love her to pieces for that. And I can't thank her enough. But also the tumblers, she donated this thing. God, it's gorgeous. We've got one more of these things to go before the Patreon, or I call it the Patreon event, which it is a Patreon event. You don't have to be a Patreon subscriber to come to it. No, just show up. Bring your family. That's fine. But a 2X leather Harley Davidson jacket. And this thing is knockout gorgeous. And of course, you know about the gift cards and all that too that we're going to be giving away. They'll either be to Walmart and Amazon. We're going to have a couple, 3 of those up there to give away. And that's just as our thank you for coming up and for listening to the podcast, for watching me flap my gums for half hour to an hour each Thursday on this thing. Somebody asked me, are you going to start doing Tuesdays too? No, probably not. Unless this thing just keeps getting bigger and bigger, which maybe. But what I'm kind of looking at with that is, well, case in point, I finished an audiobook Tuesday, signed the deal for a new one Wednesday. Here it is Thursday. I'm starting on that tomorrow. We are doing something. We have partnered with Q95 FM, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And that comes through a long friendship with Gorm and Carla and those folks down there, and they are good people. But I've had several people say, I heard about your podcast on 95.5. I'm like, cool. Okay, great. Thanks. And you can catch us online there too. I'm sure that, maybe the ads are running there, but whatever it is, I'm grateful to have the communities backing and support. So also, let me get back to the chat room here. Buff City Soap is what it's called. Buff City. I don't know what that is, but I know it smells good. Yeah, Stacy let me smell some of it the last time that I saw her. She said, "Here, take a gander at that." And I was like, "Wow, that is pretty cool stuff." So we're going to have all that now. Dropping tonight at midnight is episode 8, which is an anthology. It's 14 short stories from the Appalachian Trail. And once you hear these 14 stories, which will take you about 20, 25 minutes, something like that, go to our Patreon. And you do not have to be a Patreon subscriber or a member to do this, but find the stories that are labeled there, and each one of them have a little title I've given them, and the title is very clear, like you know, the dog with no ears or something like that. I had to name it something that I could remember. So just pick whichever one you want. Click, yeah, I'd like to hear more about this one. And I think the deadline is, like, matter of fact, I think it's the day after. I think it's May 9th, but that'll tell you more on there. I wanted to bounce something off you guys. You know, the Mountain Mysteries is these stories are real. They've happened to people. But I was kind of thinking today, and not that I'm looking to take on another case of books, mind you, but you know how some people have a getaway and escape, that they do things that get their mind off other things. For some people, maybe that's playing golf, or maybe that's crocheting, or maybe that's whatever. This is my thing. Not necessarily the video, but the podcasting, the audio production, stuff like that. These are the things that I love. This, riding the Harley, seeing my brother laugh, or hearing my brother laugh, watching him smile, seeing my daughter happy. Those are the things that make me think it's going to be okay. So I mentioned this to Allie today, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it. We had thought about a new podcast, which is a collection of stories that you guys or friends of yours or people that we may know down the line somewhere write and send to us. Fictional stories. Could be spooky, could be paranormal, could be horror, could be, something along those lines. Because I constantly have people coming to me, well, let me tell you about this time I had this experience. Now, do I believe in ghosts? It's irrelevant. What's relevant is, do you? I keep an open mind. Okay. I also understand that when you hear the floors creak, it could be because you just walked on them. If you hear the floors creak and there's nobody there, could be a house settling. Or it could be something else. I don't know. But I was thinking about doing that, and if we did it, we was thinking about calling it The Blur. Because it goes by and these things can happen so fast, or if they're intense enough, they can last so long that it just becomes like a blur to you, either way it goes. I'd like to see what you guys thought about that. And of course, it'd be a podcast. There's no charge to listen to a podcast. And that I would be doing strictly for the fun of it. I love reading other people's writings. Speaking of which, if you didn't know, I have been blessed enough that I'm having a book published, a novel. It's called Johnstown. And if I thought about it tonight, I'd put the cover up here for you guys to see. It was supposed to have been released last fall by a publishing house. And then that got moved to spring. And of course, the pandemic, yada, yada, yada. So now they're looking at mid to late summer, but the book is there. It's been approved. It's just them getting the resources, which means very, very much people that can put these things together and make whatever it is happen that they do in the publishing thing and sending it out. I think that they wanted a minor revision in the artwork, which was fine. I said, you know what? When it comes out, it comes out. Who am I to gripe? But as soon as it does, I'll make sure you guys know about it if you wouldn't care to pick up a copy. And we're even going to have some to give away. And if you live around here locally, Q95 and we'll be giving away copies on air there too. So, I mean, really, it was a story that I wrote over the course of 4 years. Yeah, started in 2015, ended in 2020. But it's things like that that kind of get my mind off everything else. I started the book while my parents were both still alive. Mom read some of it. She loved it. She wanted more. Of course, I hadn't had it done at that point. But it's dedicated to them because my mother, she could watch medical. What was that, like the coroner doctor, the medical guy that did the autopsies? She loved that stuff. I said, Mom, do you not get, like, ugh, watching this? And she was like, oh my God, no, this is so cool. It's so interesting. And I'll never forget that. My dad was sitting there on the couch and he looked over and he went, and just went on about his. And I said, well, you married her, pal. So it's whatever. But yeah, I would really appreciate some, if you guys liked it and told other people about it too. I hope you like it anyways, but just be warned, it's right at 100,000 words. And yes, it will be turned into an audiobook. Amazon's already accepted it. And so is Audible. They've already been like, okay, yeah, that's fine with us. Get it done and send it to us. I've got the script here. Of course, I'm the one that wrote it, but I'd rather wait for the book to come out first than do it that way. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I have to do according to Audible, but who knows? Yeah, whatever. So again, May 8th, 2021, it all starts at noon. Shelter number 4, which if anybody knows where the shelters are, when you pull into the shelters, you got the campground right there on your right. You swing a left and then you get back on path and the shelters. It's the very last one on the end. And you'll see balloons and signs and a lot of cars, I'm sure, motorcycles, stuff like that. A few of those are going to be up there, I hope. I can almost tell you almost for sure, as long as it is not pouring, I'll be riding mine up there because April had a thing for bikes. She liked bikes. So that's what I want to get involved in. I want to do something to honor her and to honor the other people that we've lost. And I think that DeWayne was the kind of guy that, if it had 4 legs, he could ride it, or if it had 2 wheels or 4 wheels, he could ride it. It didn't really matter. He liked anything that would get him there a little faster. And even if he was going nowhere in particular, I get that. I understand that. Red-blooded American guy. Okay. So I really hope that you guys will show up to this. We've got one more of these videos that we're going to do lives. Don't get me wrong, it's an ongoing thing, but the Patreon is May 8th. And if I'm not mistaken, as I check my handy dandy calendar, next Thursday is May 6th. And it's May 8th, which would be that following Saturday. So I'm really hoping that we will see you guys there and that you'll actually show up and have a good time and be there and support each other. I've said that I didn't want people walking around feeling all sad and depressed. That's why you lean on each other. Will there be tears? Bet money on it. Bet money on it, especially at that balloon release. Oh, I'd bet money on that one. But that's okay. That's why you've made some new friends. That's why you get together. Greatest compliment I ever got was when I was told by people that we were doing some good in this world, because there's enough bad. I appreciate that. But it's not just me. All I am is special effects. I'm the voice. I'm the voice that tells the stories based on what the families tell me and based on what research I've done, like with the Mothman and things like that. And this new episode coming up on May the 7th, which will be the Mountain Mystery of 657 Boulevard, The Watcher. This thing is all but done now. We're in some final post-production edits and, little junk like that. It's creepy. It really is, especially when you realize that this happened to a real family. It's eerily reminiscent of 112 Ocean Way or 112 Ocean Drive, whatever it was. You know it as Amityville. It was really similar in a lot of ways, not of the DeFeo case, but of the Lutzes. You see, the DeFeos, most of them, got killed in the house by Ronnie DeFeo. Well, allegedly, that's what spurred the Amityville haunting, demonic possession, etc., that kind of thing. And if I'm to understand correctly, Ronnie DeFeo recently passed away. Then the Lutzes moved in. George and Kathy Lutz moved in. And pardon the pun, everything went to hell in a handcart. They got out after, I think it was almost a month, maybe 27 days, left everything in the house. They got out with the clothes on their back. Some people screamed, oh, this is nonsense. This is scam, buyer's remorse, this, that, the other. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I can tell you what I believe. I mean, demonic force. Do not seek, and you will not find if you're lucky. Sometimes they find you. But it is there's real similarities there between the Lutzes and the family that was at 627 Boulevard. Because they got accused of a lot of the same things. But anyways, you'll find this out coming up soon. As a matter of fact, now for Patreon subscribers, that episode will be available on the 4th of May. Publicly, it drops on the 7th. And then, of course, the next day, we've got the celebration of life for April, Tim, and DeWayne. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to, I want it to be a good time for people. I want it to be a time that we remember, reflect, and embrace. We remember our loved ones, reflect on the love that they gave us, and embrace that God is real, and you do have ways and you do have people that you can lean on. And if you don't, then you really need to come to this thing. I'll be the first one standing out there to shake your hand, give you a hug, and say, glad you're here. Come on in. Hot dog buns are over there. Baked beans are scattered all over the place. Thank you again, Charlie. And we've got, but we've got water and soft drinks and whatever. So these are all things that are coming up. And I think that these are good things that maybe can help some people. At least that's definitely my hope. So remember, if you've not subscribed, no, one more thing too. Apple had this update. I mean, they update more than it's crazy. It seems like every other day I turn around, update iOS version 14.396. Your second cousin's college roommate's sister's brother's girlfriend is now available. Again, Steve Jobs would have a fit. Get it right the first time. He was known to say that. Get it right or don't get it at all. So anyways, updated it, and Apple Podcasts have changed somewhat. So to find our Patreon subscription, if you want to go on there, or if you want to, we've got a tip jar, which goes directly to my PayPal. If you want to do that, that's fine. And if not, just listen to it. There ain't much changed in terms of that. You click the play button, it plays. All right. So I really hope that you guys will check that out and do that. Because even if you don't pay a cent, I'm fine with that. You're still a family member. You're still somebody I consider to be a Mountain Mysteries family member, because you listen to it. And hopefully every once in a while you'll talk about it and you'll say, hey, did you happen to hear last Friday's episode? That was pretty good. He's got like 9 or 10 of these things out now, and they keep coming and they're good. We started getting reviews on Apple, and some of them just really makes me feel great. Because I did. Now, I'm not going to lie, in episode 9, the F-bomb is dropped twice. I may make that once, because I like the idea of kids listening to it, and I do not like saying stuff like that around kids. It's just a respect thing, the way I was raised. But yeah, there's one instance that it's going to be dropped because it's actually verbatim a quote from a police officer when he says, what the fill in the blank is this? When he gets the first letter, when he sees it, he's like, what is this? Only, yeah, it's a little rougher. But there's another one that I'm probably going to remove, to be honest with you, because it's just, again, my parents, class, not ass. Okay. Yeah. I got you. I'd love to get a count on how many is actually going to come. So far, we're thinking quite a few, and we want to make sure that we have enough food for everybody. Sharon and I are actually getting together the Friday before May 7th. We're getting together on May 7th, and going to go get a bunch of hot dog buns and hot dogs and I don't know, whatever. It's Capital One to the rescue. That's okay. That happens. So it's or whoever that we use, it don't matter to me, whatever, as long as we get the stuff. My biggest focus up there is that you guys make some new friends. You have the support you need, and you make friends that last for a lifetime. When when I lost my parents, I thought the world was at an end. Turns out, yes, we do lose people, but it doesn't have to stay bad. Put our faith where our faith should be, in God. Move forward. And no, I am not a preacher. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm nowhere near qualified to it. Never had an interest in doing it. But if I can tell you, and maybe have some kind of, start a thought process in your head that says, well, maybe there is something to this whole God thing, especially if you're not really sure, you're on the border. Don't be on the border. He's real. I promise you. Nobody else could pull me through that. This is very personal. But there'd be times I'd just start going crazy out of nowhere after I lost them. And I'd say, just give me your peace. And I'd pray, give me your peace. And I am telling you, there was something came over me that I've never experienced to this day since that was remotely like that. Was it all in my mind? This couldn't have been. I just don't see that. Anyways, this is not a religious thing. This is the Mountain Mysteries gatherings. This is where friends get together and we talk about things. At some point, I'm going to have some of you all come on this thing because I'm tired of doing all the talking. Some of y'all need to come on here. Stacy, Sharon, Serena, whoever, Tony, because I really, and most of these people I'm talking about right now, they'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Put me on. Yes, someone is going to say a prayer before the celebration. I would be happy to lead that. If you want somebody else, that's fine. And this is going to be an event where the national anthem will be sung. And I don't kneel. I kneel before the cross. I stand for those who stood for me, who gave their lives for my family and I, so that we can have this thing called freedom. My daughter will be singing that. She was a Kentucky Opry Junior prose musical performer a few years back. Oh, the girl can sing too. Not only can she do art, she can sing. So I'm going to ask her to sing the national anthem. And we may very well do the Pledge of Allegiance too, because I do think that no matter how divided this country is at the moment, we are still a country with meaning and purpose. We are still one nation under God. Abraham Lincoln once said, if this country ever fails, it will not be because of outside forces. It will be because of an internal rot. I wonder what old Abe would think about right now. Just wondered. Yeah, Allie is a peach. She really is. She's a blessing. She's meant more to me in my life than I could have ever possibly have known the day she was born. It's amazing what our kids can do for us. Never did get the parents that just don't care. And there are people out there like that. I get that, but I love my girl. She's my world. As you can tell tonight, this wasn't exactly planned like I normally try to do them. Yes, I understand, Cora. Cora writes that it was very difficult losing her mother, and this July will be 2 years, and June will be a year for DeWayne. Yes, I understand. Well, like I've said, I can empathize. I've been very fortunate. My daughter is alive, healthy, and happy, married to a great guy. They have a great life. They have their ups and downs, their struggles. We all do. But you know what? Through it all, they've got each other. I don't know what more I could possibly ask for. So I'm very grateful with what I have been blessed with. Because at this point in my life, I feel like I'm living the dream. Even on the days when I'm stressed out and ready to pull my hair out of my head. And yes, we all have those days. I don't care if you work digging ditches or if you are in the entertainment industry or if you are in retail, no matter what you do. Hell, even if you are retired and you don't do any of those things now, you still have days where you want to pull your hair out. We all do. It's the human nature. I like to look at those days as learning opportunities. We're learning something that we should know, that we have been placed here to learn. I try to look at those days like that. It is not always possible for me to do said thing, but I try. Okay. And I feel like I'm getting a little better, getting a little smarter in some ways. And in some ways, it takes me 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes. That's okay, though. We all have those days, too. But y'all look at me like that. I know some of y'all out there right now watching this thing have those days, too. 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes. Yeah. You're like, was that Tom Brokaw? No, it's Mike Wallace. So guys, I love y'all. And I am so grateful that you tuned in tonight. And I hope to catch you again next Thursday. We will be doing one. And of course, the Saturday after that is May 8th. Next Thursday is pretty much going to be about two things: the celebration of life and the mountain mystery of the Watcher, the mystery of the Boulevard. So until then, I've kept you on here for about an hour. Here's my prayer for you. I ask God to keep you safe, to show you love. If you feel like you're not loved, don't think that you are. You are. If you feel like there's no hope, that's the greatest gift in the world. Christ gave that to us. We have hope. Don't feel unworthy. You are good enough. You are worthy. I want to see you at Paintsville Lake Shelter number 4, May 8th. Around noon. If you get up here a few minutes early, that's okay. We'll hang out and we'll speak for a bit. We'll talk. Going to be some people up there. Let's all make new friends. Let's make it a point to make new friends. I will be introducing the families of these people that you have heard so much about. April's family. I understand that Tim, her brother, will be there. Love that guy to pieces. Just a great guy. I believe Eric's going to be there, who at one point won a Corvette from us. Yes, a Corvette. But he's just a super cool guy. His family, Sharon's family, DeWayne's family, extended family, friends. It's going to be a day that I hope that we remember for all the right reasons. Love, compassion, remembrance, and a feeling of how blessed we have been that we had April for 16, Tim Stambo for 24, and DeWayne for 20 years. Those are the things that matter. Almost lost it. It's the love that you take with you. The people. Be good to each other. On behalf of the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings, I'm Chris Sloan. Until we see each other again, stay mysterious. God bless you all. Love you. Good night.
From one coast to the other, mysteries are everywhere, and we will continue to pursue the answers to those questions and more. Please share, like, and rate the Mountain Mysteries podcast and tell your friends to tune in on Facebook or YouTube. The Mountain Mysteries gatherings are each Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like to support the Mountain Mysteries search and help these families, join us on Patreon, or you can make a one-time donation as well. The Mountain Mysteries and the Mountain Mysteries gatherings are property of the Pantry Studios and Chris Sloan, who writes and produces the content. If you would like to reach out to the Mountain Mysteries, please email us at pantrystudio@yahoo.com. Until next time, my friends, stay mysterious.
Pantry Studio production.